What's up, folks? Where am I? Why can't you see me right now? That's interesting. Maybe I should... I could have swore I had this set up already, but apparently I'm not here. But I will be here in a moment with Ty Park. Let's just play the intro then. How about that? I know you can hear me. You might not be able to see me, but you can hear me. We're just going to play the intro. I mean, would it really be a live stream if we didn't have at least one mishap, and that one mishap being you just can't see me at this moment? That's okay, because this is not about me. This is about Ty. If you don't know who Ty is, well, you're going to get to know him tonight. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ty Park. You know what I didn't do,
Hey.
Ty? What's up, buddy? You know what I didn't do?
Hey, Brian.
I didn't, everybody was staring at a blank screen there for a second. I thought I had everything. Anyway, forget about that.
Can they see me or?
Oh
what?
yeah. Everybody can see everything now.
Okay.
It's all fixed. I
So I have to behave apparently.
No. That's not what we ask for. We don't ask for any kind of behavior other than how you feel like behaving. That's all we ask for here.
Okay, sounds good.
I've wanted to have. So as I was telling you backstage, I've basically only had people on the live stream so far that I think are exceptional people and outstanding people, and reptiles is kind of secondary to it. You are obviously a big deal in reptile keeping. I mean, Iguana Land, even before you started working on Iguana Land, when I came to your place to visit, I was blown away. It's an incredible thing you got going on there. I'd like to go back to find out where and how you got to that point, because there's so many people that would like to know how to do something like that, I think. And you're so successful in so many different things from what I've seen. I mean, obviously Iguana Land and Iguanafest, you make big donations when you match other people's donations at USARK auctions. You're a good person. From when I met you, I just felt like I got a real easy vibe from you. You were very welcoming, very hospitable. Let us all come into your home and check out all the artwork, and just were such a great host. Your kids are incredible. They're both also equally incredible people. Your son's a doctor, your daughter's an actress. You got a beautiful family, and you seem to be successful in just about everything you do. So where are you from? Sorry, I know that's a lot to dump on you.
Well,
it's all true.
Man, that's a big introduction. Really, I've been blessed in my life. And it comes from, I believe it's come from hard work. Of course, there's some luck into it, but I was raised with great work ethic. It's even now I'm 67. I feel like I need to get up and go every day. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to retire when I turn 60 or even 65. So, I had good fortune. And as I get into third phase of my life, I want to give back and leave a legacy, and that's what I'm trying to do with this Iguana Land. I'm trying to build something that would welcome everyone, especially children and people who don't know too much about reptiles. I want them to come into Iguana Land and feel like they learned something, or they go out and realize how important reptiles are to balance of nature, for instance, or even to us humans. It's all about the balance. And I want to show people how great reptiles and amphibians are. There are a lot of negative about them, and most people actually, when you talk about reptiles, even my friends, who are not into reptile, their face kind of changed to I don't know. I mean, it's not a positive face that so it's a barrier that I'm trying to break through. And one of the reasons why I made the Iguana Land logo cartoonish is to attract children. It's more like a Disney, you know.
I was looking at that today, and I thought that same thing. I was like, that's perfect. It makes them look like cuddly, like turtles have gotten that light, I think, but not really the rest of the reptiles.
Right, that's correct. I mean, who doesn't love turtles, right? Even grandma down the street love turtles. So, you know, Iguanafest. I mean, you know, we had two Iguanafests so far, and we raised more than $120,000 in 2 days, and they gave me hope, right? And when I have this Iguana Land open, hopefully by the end of the year, I want to have two charity events every year at the facility. One will be the Iguana Fest, and I'm hoping that it'll be successful, like in the past. And the other one will be the Turtle Fest, and I think that would probably draw in more general public from surrounding area, right? So, and I'm hoping to raise. My goal is to raise $250,000 a year for conservation work, and I want to be able to also help out some of the small struggling rescues that I believe in, you know, nonprofits. And of course, I want to support US ARC. I think that's very important. So there, you know, $250,000 sounds like a lot, but it really doesn't go very far because there are so many, like for instance, scientists, field workers, vital work they do out there on reptile and amphibian research. They really don't have much financial support, you know. I mean, things like cancer, Alzheimer, they get billions. But when it comes to, you know, reptile conservation or reptile rescue, they really get basically nothing, you know.
Yeah, even birds. To your point, even birds, like there's way more money put into research for birds and bird diseases.
Yeah. Exactly, and obviously dogs and cats. Obviously, yes. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know that I'm certainly not going to put any negatives on any other you know, pets or whatever. But I'm focusing on reptiles and amphibians.
Well, they probably need the most help. I mean, compared to birds and dogs and cats, they need way more help.
I agree. And so the Iguana Land, you know, I've been here since 2007. 2006, my daughter went to Northwestern University, and that's the same year I was able to send my son to a private school in Minnesota. And so I made a bargain with my wife, and I decided that I was gonna, it's kind of like a second phase of my life. I wanted to work with reptile. So 2006, I became basically an empty nester. 2007, I bought this place, a 12-acre in Punta Gorda. It used to be a plant nursery. And so I thought it was perfect. And I still believe it is perfect. And so I've been here for 14 years. But a couple years ago, I really wanted to do more. And I wanted to, this was a private place, and I wanted to turn it into a more public place. And so that was my goal. And also I wanted to leave a legacy here. You know, 100 years from now, hopefully there'll be a little dusty photo of me in the corner of a shop, gift shop, and it'd be, you know, like a founder or something, you know, and someone who's brighter and better than me would take over and keep growing it, you know. That's what I want to do with this place. So the three things they want to do with Iguana Land is, obviously I talked about raising money. Number one thing is just to have a place where people could come and just be wowed by the diversity of reptiles and just learn about them, especially children. Okay, that's very important to me. And number two, I want to have somewhere where we could do some teaching, right? People are really interested in going into this field. Maybe I'll have a college class. I know I already have, you know, best students coming here and doing like staying for a month and learning about the exotics, right? Matter of fact, there's a two small house here on the facility, and one is what I call intern house. There's a 4 bedroom house that I could house some of these interns. And then also we could, there isn't too many places like this where you could do research on 80 rhino iguana, for instance, adults. In order for someone to do research on Cyclura, they have to go, into one of these islands, and they have to catch them. And even for them to take any blood out, any kind of sample out, they need a CITES 1 permit. It might even take two years to get that permit out. So they could come here and do research and get results within months. And matter of fact, I have one of the vet did a PhD study here and got his PhD dissertation from doing research here. So those are the 3 things that I really want to do with Iguana Land. And that's my vision, actually, for this place. I feel like my father told me that, I could divide my life into 3 different phases. So I figured that I'm going to probably live up to 90. So I divided it into 30, 60, and 90.
Wait, I'm curious. When did you decide that you were going to live till 90? At what age were you when you
said? It's just a number that I pulled out. I love to live to 100, obviously, but
when you're like realistic. 10, you're like, I'm going to live to 90. Let's start planning this out by 30, 30, 30. I got my 3. Like, when did you decide that you were going to live to 90? I'm just curious. I need to know.
Well, I mean, I was in college or even before that.
Okay.
So the first 30 years, you learn as much as you can, right? And hopefully, that means
yeah, absolutely.
You need to be, in order for it to learn, you have to be humble, right? I mean, I know only a few people who's cocky and still learn. It just doesn't mix, right? So I think it's very important also to know that good leader also is a good follower. Okay, so you need to learn to follow before you become a good leader, because emphasis is very important to a leader. Okay, so the first 30 years, you learn as much as you can. Be humble, just learn. Okay, I mean, many times when I was 21, 22, 23, I thought I knew the world. I knew everything. Very cocky. But looking back, I knew nothing, right? I mean, literally, the stuff that I knew when I was 21 and 22, it's thimbleful, really, if not even a bucketful, right? So for first 30 years, concentrating on learning as much as you can. And then the next 30,
that's when you can start being cocky. Is that accurate? Then you start being once you pass 30, once you learned it, then you start getting a little cocky, right? I feel like that's what I did.
Yeah, you could be a little more cocky, more like confident, right? So then, earn as much as you can. Work hard, right? Whatever you learned before, put into practice, right? And hard work is given to me. I can't see myself coming home and watching TV and just, drinking beer or wasting your time. I never drank in my life. I never did any drugs.
Today meant nothing to you then. April 20th
is like... Yeah, another work day. So basically, work hard as you can, earn as much as you can. And then the next phase, you really should think about giving, leaving a legacy. Give away your knowledge. It doesn't have to be money, right? Give away what you have learned. That's, to me, it's very important. Giving back to society is very important to me. So from 60 to 90, that's the time for you to give away whatever that you have to give away. And that's so, those are the 3 phases that I believe in and I try to live by. Obviously I fail many times, and You know, I can't tell you that you know, every success that I had, I probably had 2 failures before that, right? Maybe even 3 failures. But the things about me is that I don't give up. Failures is not something that I'm afraid of. You know, it's, you know, funny thing is, I started my business right out of college. Okay. um, I got accepted to grad school, but that summer I decided that I wanted to open up a pet store. You know, so
That was your first
literally,
business? Was a pet store was your
yeah,
first business?
yeah, I literally at 22, um, I decided that I wanted to start up a business, and I figured that if I fail, I got nothing to lose. I just go back to school, right? I mean, literally, I had nothing to lose. I mean, so um, I had like a thick portfolio. I just drew everything out, all the plans and stuff about, you know, to build a pet store just the way that I wanted. Um, and my budget was $40,000. That was in '78, right? Um, so I needed the money, and I didn't have it. My mom said she wasn't gonna give them to me because she wanted me to go to grad school, right? I mean, that's what the parents want you to do, right? Good education. What, you want to open up a pet store? No. So anyway, I went to a bank, and they told me, it's a great plan, but uh, we need 20% down payment. So that was $8,000. Um, all through my college, I worked on weekend. I worked 30 hours a week at a pizzeria for 4 years in a row. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? 10 hours a night. Because, you know, I had an expensive hobby, right? Reptile, and I had a bunch of fish back then too. It's very expensive. So in order for me to support my hobby or my habit, um, you know, I worked, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I went to school, and then on the weekend I worked. So anyway, so I needed $8,000 down payment. So I went to my boss, the guy who worked for 4 years at pizzeria. And this guy taught me a lot. He's an immigrant from Yugoslavia, right? Croatian. I mean, him and his wife were unbelievable. I mean, they taught me so much. The work ethic, and so I went to him, and I told him my plan, and he wrote me a check for $8,000 right there.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
yeah,
You
I
must have
mean,
made a good impression on him. He must have
well,
been a
I
hard
mean,
worker, like you're saying.
you know, yeah, I did. You know, obviously, everywhere I go, even when I was a dishwasher, when I was 16, I worked my butt off. I mean, that's the only way. You know, I figured if I'm gonna be there 8 hours, why slack off? You know, that's 8 hours. You know, push yourself. It doesn't matter if you're getting paid $1 an hour or $100 an hour. You're gonna be there 8 hours. Just do your best. Give everything you have, and then they'll recognize you. You know, I mean, that aspect has been, I think, removed from society these days. I do not know, but back then, that was my attitude. If I was washing dishes, which I did in the summertime when I was 16, again, because to support my habit, because, you know, it's not easy for me to ask my mom and dad, hey, Dad, I want to buy some $100 goldfish. You know, literally, I had $100 goldfish back then because my eyes were high, you know. I drove to Chicago 2.5 hours to get the best goldfish I could find. There was a place called Auburndale Goldfish Company. I would go there in Chicago and buy the best imported Chinese, you know, orandas and stuff, you know. So yeah, I mean, I was always doing something. And I worked at an angelfish LTD back then when I was in high school. I mean, you talk about sweatshop. I mean, this warehouse breeding angelfish, literally, the whole walls dripping with, water because the heat in there, right? I mean, 80. I think she kept the room at like 83 or 84 degrees
And like
to raise
90% humidity.
yeah, I mean, and 100%, 1,000% humidity, really. and and I worked there and I loved it, right? I mean, so so anyway, so he gave me $8,000. He wrote me a check right there. And so with that, I went to the bank and got the $40,000, and rest is history. From then on, I built a couple more pet stores. Bought his pizzeria.
you ended up buying his
Yeah,
pizzeria.
I bought his
Was
pizzeria.
was it a happy transition? Like he was ready to sell it and he's like, you're the perfect guy to sell it to? It was like,
Oh, it was great place. I mean, it's money making machine. I mean, it's
I mean,
like,
when you bought it from him, was it
this
like he was like happy to sell it to you? He was like, gotta sell it.
no,
please
he wanted
buy
to
it.
retire.
He wanted to
No,
retire.
he
Gotcha,
worked.
gotcha.
He worked 10 years at that pizzeria. He owned 10 years, and he was able to retire and move to Oregon. And yeah, so he moved his family to Oregon. He bought some big acreage, and yeah, so yeah, and then I got into other ventures, and yeah, so yeah,
Oh, you just said a
so
lot. You just said a lot in one word right there. That was, I mean, as much as you want to talk about those other adventures, that's what I want to hear about. So as
yeah,
he
so
said,
yeah.
we just go.
So that's about it for the beginning. So 2007, I bought this place, and yeah, I mean, I tell you, Brian, last 2 years been the most challenging time of my life, trying to build a reptile facility. It started from trying to get this place licensed as or zoned as to do a zoo, right? And there was a lot of resistance because it was going to be reptile zoo, right? Already I got a lot of negative from neighbors. I had to literally, especially one specific neighbor who really didn't want me to do this. And she fought me, and she's still fighting me even now. And she objected, but I had a good lawyer, went before the zoning commissioner, and they gave me permission to do this. And so we got that, and then I tried to build stuff, and ran into a lot of different things like Charlotte County, the building, ran into building codes, right? They wanted me to, for instance, every little cage that I built, they wanted building, they wanted me to have permit for everything that I built here. I mean, even little cage that they wanted me to have permit. Matter of fact, we were building some of these indoor cages, and they came in and put a big red sticker that said "Do not build." So I was, so I decided to, many sleepless night. How can you literally, that would delay me. It would take me 10 years to build if I had to get permit for every cage, from the county, because every permit that you put in, it's gonna probably take 6 months, and I could understand if I build a bathroom, for instance, I could understand that they need permits for that. So I decided to somehow, I figured that if I zoned this place as agriculture, they will leave me alone. All right. So that was one of the brilliant ideas I had at like 3 a.m. So, and I went to my attorney, and then we started that process of zoning certain part of it as an agriculture. And I was able to do that not because of the lizards or any other stuff, because of the turtles. The turtles are aquaculture, okay? And it's part of agriculture. So one of the reasons why I'm making this huge turtle center is because of that, all right? So basically half of my stuff will be turtles and tortoises, which I love anyway, right? I mean, so once we convince the county zoning commissioner that we are legitimate agricultural center because we are going to breed turtles for pet market, they left us alone. No more permit. They told us, okay, you could build anything you want without permit. But that took more than a year, right?
The turtles are like the saving grace of reptiles. I mean, it seems like, right? That makes sense.
Well, it certainly saved me.
Yeah.
I mean, so it certainly saved me a lot of money. And then on top of that, I found out about agritourism, where you could actually have, most of the agritourism pretty boring. Like it's cattle ranching or maybe fish farming or plant nursery or whatever.
Rodeo,
but mine, right? Right. Mine is reptiles, and it's just so unique when it comes to like agritourism. But they told me I can do it because I'm an agriculture, and a zoo is a perfect touring place. So with that designation, I'm not liable for any damage done to any visitors. In other words, I don't need liability insurance. All right.
Wow.
So I have $2 million liability insurance still, but if somebody come here and falls down, they can't sue me.
Because you're licensed as agritourism.
Agritourism. All right. And that's the law in Florida and many states. We're exempt from liability. So now that distinguish me from other zoos. We could actually do a lot of hands-on stuff. I mean, obviously, I'm going to train people that they won't get hurt. When we're going to show a snake, which a lot of zoos probably can't do because of the liability, or a lot of things that the zoo can't do because hands-on stuff because of the liability. We can. We can do a lot of different education. Literally, we could do education that other zoos can't do, like touch stuff, But having said that, of course, we're going to be very careful. We're going to train our employees to make sure that nobody get hurt. But at the same time, we don't have to worry about that anymore. We could actually do the stuff that other zoos cannot do. So now we're in a great place to do all the stuff that I dream of doing, hands-on education, without the fear of somebody suing me, right? So those are all the things that I've been going through for the last 2 years. It's been very challenging, but slowly we're getting there. There's other challenges, financial, obviously, because of the COVID, right? It's been, who would have thought that 2x4 would be doubling in price in 1 year, right?
Yeah, I was building supply. Yeah, I hear you. I went down to grab a little piece of plywood the other day to put a platform down here, and I was like, whoa.
It's ridiculous.
Tripled. Crazy.
Yeah, you're right. It's triple. And some of the electric stuff I can't even get. I went to buy some cement today. It was empty. In Punta Gorda, Home Depot, right? So I called up Port Charlotte one, and they had 30 left. I needed a pallet full, and that's only going to last me a week or two. So the building supplies has just, it's just been ridiculous. and even the shortage is ridiculous. So that really, delayed it. Plus, I mean, you can't even budget anymore. You don't, my budget blown out of proportion a long time ago. So it's been challenging. I'm even thinking about maybe doing maybe even a fundraiser, because I blew away my budget for this a long time ago. But I'm still here, I'm still building, but I don't have 12 people doing building anymore. I have 4 people right now doing the building. So I slow down a lot. I still have 4 people, 4 keepers that obviously we have to keep keep the animal in pristine condition. So I have 4 keepers who take care of all the animals we have now. I'm trying not to add too much more. So basically, 2-3 months before we open, my plan is to fill up all the cages. Right now, we're still building. It's been, there's been a lot of
What is your
stuff they have
hopeful?
to go through.
What's your hopeful opening date to open to the public? What are you thinking?
You know, I like to say I want to open by September. All right, that's what I told my employees, so that they could, have some kind of goal in front of them. But having said that, I'd be happy if I open by December, right? So yeah, it really has been the most challenging thing I have ever done in my life. Many times I sit at night. Matter of fact, I'm the kind of guy who never get anxious or never ever have. I've always been positive.
You seem pretty relaxed. The one time we were there and we were hanging out, you seem like a pretty chill guy. I will say that for sure.
I am. I really am. But having said that, I think I actually had, for the first time in my life, I had an anxiety attack.
Wow. I feel like you've made it a good distance without having one, to have one all of a sudden. I mean, I guess
right. And I didn't even recognize it until someone told me that what it was. So I'm trying to slow down a bit, trying to, get myself to slow down. But with my personality, it's very hard. I'm the kind of person who works 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I want to work more and rather than sleep, and I did that for a long time when I was younger, and I enjoyed it. That's the thing. I mean, that's that's workaholic, right? I mean, you ignore everything, including your family, and you just work. And the thing is, you work because you enjoy it. It's selfish thing. It's not, it's nothing to be, proud about, right? Being a workaholic is not something that I'm really proud of. I got away from it. Now I'm kind of back into it now, by default. But, once it's open, I think it'll do great things. And I think, I believe that it'll be financially successful also, right? Because right now, the way I am with the breeding animals, selling to the not so much the pet stores, but the collectors, we're pretty much breaking even. All right, and so basically everything coming, all the entry fees and the gift shop selling T-shirts and stuff like that, it'll be just plus. So, and my goal is to have within 2-3 years, I'd like to have 200 to 250,000 people coming through that gate, right? And I think it's very doable. Matter of fact, I talked to a couple of hotels managers came to visit me, and they were very impressed, and and these people knows about this area, and the tourism and stuff like that. And I told them my goal was to have 200,000 people come through the gate. And he laughed at me. He said, "That's low." And he said, I think you could get a lot more, because if you really think about it, my place is 10 minutes from the busiest highway, one of the 2 busiest highway in Florida.
But it's
75.
still like nice
Okay.
and feels like I felt like I was in Hawaii when I was at your place, like east side of Oahu, not the. It was nice.
Yeah, I'm perfectly away from everybody. At the same time, I'm 10 minutes from the major highway, right? So if you want to go to any of the theme park and stuff like that on land, you're gonna have to fight traffic for an hour, right? So it's a very convenient way to just pop in, okay? Literally 10 minutes from the highway. And so, and I'm right in the middle of Tampa and Miami, okay? I'm 2.5 hours from Miami and like less than 2 hours from Tampa. I'm 2.5 hours from Orlando. I'm an hour from Naples and Sarasota. In between those two big giant cities, we have millions of people. And there's nothing like this around here. I mean, and the people, you know, like the people who knows this area about tourism and stuff, they realize that this is like a gold for them. And these hotel managers said that the thing that the family, when they come to visit, they ask us, where can we take the kids? And there just isn't any place around here. So, and they were really pleased. Obviously, Chamber of Commerce around here is really happy about it. So I think financially we'll be successful also, although that really isn't goal, but you know, it helps obviously to grow the place, right? And I want to keep growing it. I would love to have a huge building with nothing but chameleons, for instance, like all the chameleons. Or and I want to have another building with nothing but amphibians and insects, for instance, right? So and those are all the things that I want to do later. So right now, I want to start with, hopefully I could start with about 250 species of reptiles and amphibians. And they'll be all non-venomous, right? Because again, to focus on the family entertainment, right? I decided that we won't be doing any venomous, not yet anyway. Maybe I might change my mind maybe 10 years from now, I don't know. But right now I wanted this to be a family-friendly place where people could come with their kids and just enjoy and say, wow, I never seen that before. That's just amazing. I never knew that. And believe it or not, I get that all the time when we have these people come in. I'm doing practice run right now with, some of the people, I invite people in. And so far, response has been phenomenal. So I'm very hopeful. I want to divide this zoo into like two different entity. One will be nonprofit, and the other one will be profit. The nonprofit section will do a lot of conservation work. I'm gonna fence off my breeding center, which is in the back, and we're gonna give guided tours there. And I'm probably gonna charge maybe $10 extra. Some people say you should charge more. I'll probably start out with $10 extra. It'll be a guided tour, and 100% of that will go to charity, conservation work. Okay, so those are the things that I doubt. That's my plan right now.
It's a great plan, Ty. It's a fantastic plan. I'm loving watching it start to come to fruition. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that you're working at here, man. And especially in the state you're in the current climate with legislation, there couldn't be a more perfect place to have something like this happen. Would you? I mean,
yeah, that's a challenging thing. Is hopefully I can make a little difference, even with the the thing is, unless you are familiar or love something, you're not going to try to protect it, right? And so I'm hoping that some of these kids will grow up and decide that reptiles not bad. These legislation on banning a lot of this reptile is wrong. Right now, we're fighting. No matter what we do, we're gonna lose. It's just very simple because general public don't care about reptiles. All they care about is that green iguana in the back eating my hibiscus, right? So we need to change that mindset. And I think Dev just recently had a very good YouTube episode where he talked about all these invasive species in Florida. Has nothing to do with pet owners, like for instance, brown animals, all those came through plants, right? Or in a freighter, right? I mean, how many reptiles can you really pinpoint and said they came from pet industry? I don't think there are too many of them. Most of them came with the plants or by the freighter. Like for giving you an example, I got a Cuban iguana here right now sitting that came from Cuba, right? In a freighter. And with a bunch of iron from Guantanamo Bay in a freighter, and it landed in Tampa. So now this animal, somebody rescued it and it come to me, So so to blame the whole industry, pet industry for invasive, I think is wrong. But at the same time, people don't care. General public don't care about reptiles. They care about dog and cat, but really don't. So I think it's very important to educate the general public.
Well, if that place turns out like your vision, man, then that's going to be huge. Like if you got so many people showing up and the kid, that's what it takes is something. And this is why I'm so impressed with what you're doing, because you're going to be doing that, but it's going to be on a big scale and in the part of the country that probably needs it the most, because of just the climate down there and the way it is with reptiles down there. That's
right. I mean, if you think about it, where I am right now, iguana cannot survive the winter. That's why I have heaters in every one of my cages, right? Only animal I know for sure will survive where I am are tegus, okay? So I decided when I went for the license with the Charlotte County zoning commissioner, literally for the last year or two, that was in the news all the time. Burmese python and tegus were in the news every month, right? So they were concerned. So I told them, this is my story. That's the only animal we really, will survive that's exotic. I mean, obviously corn snakes and those are native stuff, right?
Yeah.
I gave that up, and I told them, I was the largest tegu breeder in the world at one time. I told them, look, okay, I'm not gonna do tegus anymore. You're concerned, so I think that really impressed them. That I wanted to give something up, and so I think that's one of the reasons why they gave me the license, because they saw me as a sane person, right? So sometimes you have to give. And a lot of times we try to fight things without giving, and I think it has to be balanced there. And I was hoping that the law would be softer on us, like for instance, maybe just have us hold license, for instance, right? And I would go for that, but I think right now in this climate right now, there's no way we could have won that law. Just no way. So we just have to figure out how we're gonna live with that, and
it's not locked in stone, right? It's not 100% locked in stone, right? There's always...
No, it's not. And tell you the truth, between you and me, I fought FWC. I took them to court, and I won. And I did that not because of I wanted my license, because I don't need my license here, not personally. All right, I could have my manager get licensed. I could have 3-4 different keepers have license. I'd be fine. But they want to take my license away. I fought them in court. and it cost me, tens of thousands of dollars. I won't say exactly, because I wanted to set a precedent, right? They shouldn't be able to go after small people who didn't have money, right? I was able to fight them, and I won. And it's a case that they could refer to. Next time they won't be able to do things like that, right? So I might be the only person who fought FWC and won in Florida, for instance.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I said at the very beginning, Ty. Like you seem to be successful at just about everything you set out to do. Is it? I know you said you have failures.
That's a lie. You know.
No, I know you have failures. I know you have. Obviously, with every success, there's always failure, right? Is that fair to say? Anytime you have any great success, there's failures that come first. Sure.
Right.
But
never give up.
Yeah. Yeah, so you never gave up, and you keep pushing forward. Even though there's the failures, you didn't let them stop you from pushing forward to do whatever it was. I mean, what's an example of one of the biggest failures that you faced early on? Like, what can you think back to, like, you know, maybe just after college, like something that was a huge failure that you got back up from? And
well, I won't really say it's a failure, but one of the stupid thing I did was actually when I was taking out the loan, interest rate was 21%. Can you think about that?
That's brutal,
right? Yeah, I mean, back then it was ridiculous, but even with that, I succeeded. Obviously, I paid it all off, right? But I think that was kind of stupid thing for me to do, but at the same time, it just worked out. It's amazing. I sit here and said to myself, 21% interest. What the hell were you thinking? You know, but I don't know if that, obviously they didn't turn out to be a mistake, right?
Yeah. How old are you at that point?
22.
22. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. So I mean, at that age, I thought I could do anything, you know, so very bold. And I think that's important too. You know, you try things when you're young, right? Because if you fail young, you could pick yourself up and keep going. I mean, I've seen so many kids don't try, you know, don't reach for the sky. You know, they always stop themselves short of their ability.
What do you think that comes from? From being maybe too comfortable at a young age?
I think it probably everybody's different, right? It's probably personality has something to do with it, right? You know, and I think it has to do with their upbringing. You know, like for instance, my son, I've always challenged him. I mean, I tell you what, I put him through hell. You know, I was a workaholic, so I really didn't spend much time with him. And so here I come, when I think it was 8, I put him, that was the first time he played soccer. And soccer was, for me, it was a very important thing. And I realized that, hey, this kid, all he's doing is reading books and, you know, staying inside. And so I put him in a competitive soccer, his first club.
You're a soccer guy. You were playing soccer the other night, right?
Yeah. I love soccer. And so basically, I got him on this competitive team. It's called Schwaben. Because I was able to coach them. I put him in this team, and when I put him on the field, I had to close my eyes. I mean, he never touched the ball before, and the first time he was on a soccer field was U9 competitive soccer, right? He was the worst player, and I would put him in like 5 minutes for half, and I would just cringe, right? But he wanted to quit many times. He cried. We would have discussion in the car, and I would drag him to soccer. I think I'm the only parent who never missed a soccer practice. Went to every one of his soccer practice.
So you weren't so much of a workaholic
Obviously,
that
the
you
game.
couldn't be there for soccer practice, something important like that. So
No, that was after I was actually retired.
Okay.
I decided that I wanted to spend more time with my kids, actually. So I decided that actually I was gonna spend time with my family, and so and so anyway, what I think I did well was to challenge him constantly, right?
I do that a lot with
So if
my boy. He probably wants me to spend a
yeah,
little less time with him doing
right.
that.
So when he became pretty good, got to a middle of the team, and when it's the caliber, I move him to a higher caliber team, right? Now here's that at the bottom again. I pushed him. I challenged him a lot. And guess what? I mean, he went to Princeton University, right? Played 4 years varsity soccer there, right? From 9-year-old who never touched a soccer ball. And I'm talking about, most kids start at 3-4 years old these days, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And this kid never touched the ball until he was like 8.5. For him to go through that, and I put him through that, and to play varsity soccer at Division I, right? And then study molecular biology at Princeton, which is probably the hardest thing you could do. And I'm not talking about, him taking a psychology class, or I'm sorry about the psychology major, sorry. But he didn't take an easy way out because, he knew that he needed to challenge himself. He needed to put him in a place where he's going to fail, and he pick himself up and keep doing it until he's successful. And now, he's a second year, and he went to USC Medical School. He wants to be a trauma surgeon. I think he has a lot of humility in him. I think he want to. I mean, he has an amazing hand skill. He's a great painter, and it's like, man, it's really God gave him an awesome hand to do surgery with. And so, I mean, I think that he could have probably done, I don't know, plastic surgery with the Princeton, diploma and USC diploma. Do plastic surgery. All this Hollywood starlet will come to him and knock on his doors, right? I mean, that's how this world works. But no, he said, I want to basically, he wanted to be more like a servant doctor. So he wanted to be doing trauma surgery, try to save lives. He wanted to work at community hospital, not, some of these rich, suburban hospital. He said, these poor people appreciate me more. It's not so.
Well, you obviously raised him right, Ty. I mean, obviously you're very proud of him for very much a good reason. I mean, multiple reasons, it seems. It's great, man. That's fantastic. The world needs more and more of this type of thing that you seem to be doing, which is, again, I said this at the beginning, I said at the middle, I'm saying now, it's inspiring to see the amount of work that you've put in and how it's become such a beautiful thing in multiple places in the world, manifested in your children, manifested in this amazing facility that you're building that's going to hopefully have a huge impact, and I believe will have a huge impact on changing the minds of the general public more and more with what your vision. I see your vision just coming to light. It seems like they've been doing it, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm looking forward to more and more of it, man.
Yeah, the thing that I'm very concerned about these days, this is something that I kind of wanted to bring it up, right? I know all the other stuff that I'm kind of answering your questions, but there have been a lot of attacks on some of the leaders in our industry, right? Like Brian Barchak and Jay even, and I feel that that's wrong.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I mean, as a community, we should support each other. Yeah, I mean, so what? They do things different than you, or I mean, but I personally, and I might be a dumb guy saying this, But I personally think that these guys do more good than harm. I really do. And I know they're doing this to make money. I'm not stupid, right? Of course, they got a huge viewing audience, like millions, right? And they're making maybe millions from YouTube. I don't know because I'm not on YouTube. My daughter and everybody else want me to do it, but I'm not.
You're
I
building
don't
a
have
place.
time to do
You're
it.
building the place where the people
Exactly.
that have the channels are going to want to come to because it's so amazing.
Right.
It's
All
already
right.
happened
So
even before you started building this new.
So I mean, yeah, I could probably have YouTube and make tens of $1,000 extra or 100,000. I don't know, but that's not me. Okay. So, but having said that, it's important for every one of us to stop criticizing others. If you have something that you don't like that them doing, send them a private message. All right. If they say, I don't believe, I mean, they don't, enough of us send them private message. Maybe they'll change. Maybe they won't. Right. But I really truly believe that these guys are doing good things. Maybe 3 good things, 1 bad thing. I don't know, but it's still positive. Like it ends up being positive.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. And oh man, this would be segueing into a whole. We're gonna have to have you on again because this is a whole other topic that I am very passionate about, and I really agree with you wholeheartedly. So maybe it wouldn't be the great conversation. We just be like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Maybe we have people that disagree, so we could talk about why.
Or there are a bunch of people who's gonna disagree.
Absolutely, but it's not going to be you and I.
Okay. Absolutely. I mean, I see their point.
Me too. Me too. I do too.
But the thing is, if you criticize them, how is that good? How is that good? That's not positive. All right. Be in public and literally criticize these people. How is that gonna be? I mean, I don't understand why you do that. That's negative. All right. I mean,
that's that whole other side of the world. That's that side of the coin that didn't happen tonight at all. Everything you've been putting out here has been like, that good, positive, like inspiring thing. But there's that whole other side to it that can happen. It's easier. I think it's because you're a hard worker that it's easier that you're able to maintain this positive outlook a lot. It's so much easier to take that negative route and just like find what the flaw you think is in somebody else, point it out, and build on it. It's so easy.
Absolutely.
To do that. So easy.
Absolutely. And I get attacked all the time too for some of my methods, but I'm gonna always tell the truth. I don't care if people disagree with it or agree with it or not. I think that I have a lot of experience, and especially working with some of the rock iguanas and iguanas, and I'm gonna keep presenting my side of it. That doesn't mean that I'd be like disappointed or even mad because they don't believe what I'm doing is right. But in my gut, I know I'm doing it right because I work with 1,000 animals, right? If you're working with 2 or 3 animals, your experience is not complete, right? So when you work with thousands of animals, you realize things like, okay, they have different personalities, just like people do, right? If you work with 3 or 4, that species is this kind of personality. This is their trait. You take a species and literally they look different within species, they act different within species. Literally what I find also is, this is why I hate writing, people asking me to write care sheet, or do you have a care sheet? I don't believe in that, because literally you can't put a whole species on a little piece of paper, right? Even like, for instance, hotspots, for instance, you take an iguana, you take one iguana and you take another iguana. Literally this iguana, all right, like hotspot to be 95. This iguana like it at 110. I'm not kidding you.
No, I know.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. It might be 120. 95. This guy is perfectly healthy. Me, for instance, I like my room to be 78, 80 degrees. My son probably like it in the 60s, right?
My
People
room,
are
my room
different.
is.
Why?
You would like my room because my room's actually between 78 and 80 degrees right now, and
Right.
usually, I personally don't
Right.
like it that much. That's why I don't have my pants on. But that's you would you would like it in here though. Me
Yeah,
not so
so
much.
people are different. Animals are different within species. Literally, I'm finding these things out. Literally, hotspots are different for within species. Some animals have different desire. I mean, um, I guess the temperature range that they personally like, right? So just because your animal don't like to bath under 110, don't say when somebody says hotspot of 110, he's not wrong. He's right. Okay, you're right. He's right. Remember that. Don't criticize other people. Don't you know dismiss other people's information.
Yeah,
All right,
I'd say a little
and it's very very
constructive
important.
criticism could be good as long as it leads to a positive conversation where there's a little understanding brought into play.
Right,
Right.
right. It's not you against me. There's many different ways to raise animals. You talk about the rack and the huge. I personally like animals in large um, large enclosures, right? But I'm not gonna go out there and criticize people who use rack. You know why? Because I don't have experience in that, right? I have too many people say that's wrong, and they never done it before. If you don't have experience in it, why are you an expert? Right?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
I mean, so if you never kept an animal in a rack system, don't criticize it.
Yeah, I mean, I have obviously only snakes basically in this room, with a couple of exceptions, but yeah, there's some animals that I just realized didn't do so well in there, and so I adjust them and move them to a different type of enclosure to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I mean, and I believe some snakes do well in rack system as long as it's not it's a stupid small small area where they can't do anything, right? So yeah, I mean, be mindful that there's many different ways to do things, and let's support each other and be positive influence in this community, not the negative person who keep nitpicking at the little things and criticize others. Because you know what, those people who criticize will criticize you too, believe me. He might be your friend now and be on your side, but once this guy doesn't like you, he's gonna start criticizing you too.
It's live by the sword, die by the sword time.
Right. So surround yourself with good people, positive people who's gonna influence you in a positive way.
Couldn't have said it better myself, my man. Hey Ty, I want to thank you for your time coming on here, man. We're gonna head over to the.
You're welcome.
The after call. This has been fantastic. I could honestly sit here and listen to you, and I have so many more things I'd like to ask you. I'm so happy you've come on tonight. I felt so blessed to have gotten to come to your place and meet you that time, because I recognized you, and what you confirmed again tonight is just like who you are as a person, and what I think you've proven this to a lot of people already with what you're doing with it and everything. But we're gonna jump in the after call. I'm gonna come out once you open. I'm definitely obviously I'm gonna come back. That was always in my mind that I'm coming back to your place. When we left, I was like, okay, obviously that was not enough. I need to come back.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the talk. Yeah, I mean, I hope that even half a person, if I convince them to do something positive, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think they did, man. Well, I'll be back with you in just a moment, my friend. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, guys. I know I'm missing again. I'm gonna fix it right now because that's it's ridiculous. I'm gonna fix it. I promise. You should be able to see me when I'm talking, and I'm going to fix it as you watch right now, live right now. One of these days, I will not have a single. And watch, you're even gonna see Ty again because I need to copy and paste this little thing here, but. I thought this time I thought for sure I had it. Like I thought for sure, not a single technical difficulty, but who was I kidding? There I am. Look, there I am. See, I told you you'd be able to see me at some point. And next week, it'll be just as good. No, I'm sorry, but that's going to be tough to top. It's going to be, there's not going to be any technical issues next week. I know I said it every single week. Obviously, I've made myself out to be this huge liar, but I'm going to go out on a limb now, and I do not like break promises. I'm the type of person, like, if I've promised something, it's going to happen. And I like to think that I did never promise that we wouldn't have a single technical difficulty. I think I said I was always working towards it. But next week, I promise there will not be a single technical difficulty. Even though as I look on the screen now, it looks like there's a huge one. It's okay. There's a link for, if you haven't seen Ty's place for some reason, there are links down in the description, different people who come to his videos. Everywhere you can follow him on Facebook, Instagram. It's all down there in the description. Just go check it out. And yeah, we're going into after Zoom call. There's a link for that right now too. So you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you next week on this channel. Here I am still. It's all right.